Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Fullington. I just kind of wanted to do a recap on things that we did today. If you missed school today, I'm going to be trying to do this as much as I can so that when you come back to school tomorrow or next week, because tomorrow's Friday, yay! I just wanted to kind of do a recap of so that you don't get behind and so that you're on the same page as everybody else is. And so I'm going to go ahead and read our I can statements today for reading, word study, and writing. And so it says, I can show my understanding of what I read by applying reading strategies to help me identify and discuss the theme and main ideas of short stories using correct sentences, structures, and academic vocabulary. And in one word study today, it says that I can use English spelling patterns and rules with increasing accuracy, which is kind of like increasing how fast you read and how fast you can spell as more English is required. And in writing, it says I can edit my writing using standard sentence structures and grammar that is appropriate for my grade level to write imaginative narratives. And so, in reading today, we kind of focused on a lot of things, and so I kind of want to get y'all caught up, get you caught up. So right here it says for main idea, good readers can identify main idea. So the main idea is what the text is mostly about. And so you can see the red bold. We kind of want you to remember these things. And so we have 5 things that you want to be looking for when you are trying to look for main idea. So the first one is obviously it's what is the text mostly about? And so that's your first question that's just going to pop in your brain. The second step is I would look at the titles and the headings. So if there's titles and headings like sections, headings, these are like sections within the story, that's going to help you out find the main idea. 3, look at the pictures. If the pictures are there, please look at them. They give you clues on what you need to be looking for. 4, sometimes the main idea is stated in the first and last or the last sentence. But I would suggest check the first sentence and then the last sentence. If it's paragraphs, check the first paragraph and the last paragraph. They're definitely going to be in there, stated somewhere. That's when you're going to use your reading strategies to highlight your reading strategies. 5, look for clues that are used repeatedly. So if you see words that are popping up left and right, get a notebook or get your writing journal, jot them down, make a list of things that you hear over and over again. So that's main idea. Now we're going to know the difference between main idea and theme. So here's the next slide. The next slide says theme is the message or lesson that the author wants you to take away from the story. So here are some questions that you probably want to ask yourself while you're trying to find the theme, which is the message or lesson of the story. What did the characters learn? Sometimes characters have a misunderstanding at the beginning of their story, and then at the end, they kind of clarify what they're learning. 2, how did the characters grow? So I know that the characters they struggle a little bit at the very beginning of the story. Then they need to go back and kind of learn from their mistakes, and then they grow from that. They kind of learn like the lesson, treat others the way you want to be treated. So the example there is if you're nice to somebody else is going to repeat that back. And that's kind of what some of these, today we're talking about folk tales. Myths and folk tales have some kind of lesson to it. It may be something about their culture, something about their religion. So that's something that we need to be looking for when theme comes up. So some of the common themes that are in folktales and myths are courage, honesty, love, friendship, forgiveness, loyalty, hope, equality. Equality is like you're treating everybody the same. Hard work or teamwork. Honesty and courage have been come up as questions of what does it mean? Courage is to kind of put other people first and kind of kind of protecting them almost. That's how I really remember it as. Honesty is always telling the truth, being truthful. So that's theme. Myths, we're kind of touching up on that. Explains natural phenomenon. So examples is why are the stars, earthquakes, and storms, so great? And so that's kind of making your brain think about your thinking. So that's called metacognition, which is you're thinking about your thinking while you're reading. Your brain is always doing that when you're reading. You just never realize it. So now I'm kind of trying to point that out to you. It says explain origins of earth, fire, or evil, how they began or how they came to be, as the sun, earth, and fire or evil. Another thing about myths is that it's about gods or goddesses. So female gods, male gods, heroes and monsters, and their interactions with humans. That's myths. So our next one is folktales. This is our new one. Our new one is folktales. And so folktales are fiction. They are never nonfiction. So remember, nonfiction is real, fiction is pretend. So story that comes from a specific country or culture. A folk tale also reflects the customs or beliefs of the people. The characters may be people, they may be animals. Animals sometimes have human characteristics in folk tales. And so, while you're learning about folk tales, I want you to kind of listen to a story. I'm going to give you a website. I'm going to kind of walk you through it so that you can look at it on YouTube. So let's finish this first before I can walk you through it. So it says the story has often been told and retold orally before being written down. Orally means that it's word of mouth. Back then they didn't have internet. They didn't have what else did they didn't have books or magazines sometimes. And so they had to make up stories in their mind. They had to use their brain to do it, guys. So before they had written it down. Folk tales may contain a lesson, explain something about the natural world. So when you're reading this folk tale that I'm about to walk you through to watch it, go ahead and think about the things. So look at the surroundings, look at the setting of where it took place. So let me go ahead and show what I'm talking about. So if you come here to Google, you're going to go to YouTube. Make sure that you have a parent with you on this, just because YouTube is very universal and we want it to be kid friendly. So make sure you have an adult to search this with you. It's called, what is it called? Let me see really fast. It's called The Harvest Bird. So the Harvest Birds. And so it's a read along, and this is what we watched. It's about 5 minutes and 38 seconds. And so it's going to walk you through the story.
The Harvest Birds.
So here's the story.
In a little town where everyone knew everyone, there lived a young man named Juan Zanate. He was given this name because he was always seen with one or two Zanate birds. Juan used to sit under his favorite tree, dreaming and planning his life. He had wanted to have his own land, as his father and grandfather had. However, when his father died and the land was divided, there was enough for only his two older brothers. Because of this, Juan had to go to work in the shops of the town. If only I had my own land, my life would be different, Juan thought. He went to see Don Tobias, the richest man in town, and asked to borrow a little piece of his land. Don Tobias burst out laughing, and his wife laughed with him. "Why should I let you use my land?" he asked. "You don't know anything about making things grow." Sad and ashamed, Juan returned to sit under his tree. It was the only place where he felt really happy. In its huge branches lived a flock of Zanate birds who were so used to him that they thought of him as their friend.